Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Siblings Podcast. And of course, I am your hostess, Canvas. So, I just wanted to talk about the Tower of Babel, the Matrix, and Jericho, and the walls of Jericho. You know, when the walls came tumbling down, Joshua had his men walk around and blowing trumpets, trumpeting all night and day long till the walls came tumbling down. What we failed to realize, the reason the walls came tumbling down was the elevation of their vibration. Therefore, if you have enough harmony, enough volume of the vibration, like say the Om, and you had millions of people in the same space emanating that same vibration, do you imagine the power of it all? And so, how do they prevent us from coming together with our vibrations and breaking down the walls of Babylon at the base, not at the top of it? Because if we try to break Babylon down from the top, nothing will happen, because it's still rooted in the system of the matrix which Babylon created. And who is Babylon? What is Babylon? What we were taught was Babylon was a physical building, something that was built physically. There is an element of truth to that, but however, it was more spiritual. They said how they separated us, how God struck the tower, right? The Tower of Babylon, how God struck it. Excuse me, I need to pause for a moment. Excuse me for that pause. So we were talking about how we have to break everything down at the root causes, right? So again, Babylon is as much as once physical, because it makes us pay attention to the physical, but it's also spiritual, right? And who is Babylon? What is Babylon? Babylon is the Mzungus, right? Those who are not melanated, who have came into the places where we were concentrated, and because they could not elevate themselves, right? They could not understand how we did not have any need for words, because we used it through our we communicated through our vibrations. And let me explain how we communicate through our vibrations. How do I explain this? Because these downloads are just coming so quickly. I have to try to slow myself down. So, how? So when you go into Africa, even here in the U.S., right? How did different pockets of us, the indigenous peoples, who had different ways of worship? Well, let me stop saying worship, because that is a Mzungu word. Different ways of acknowledging our ancestors, the gods who emanate this world. How did we communicate with each other? Through drumming. Tribes will communicate through drummings, smoke signals, which represented different things for them. So they acknowledge, okay, a mutual enemy is coming this way. Or let's have a powwow, a peace treaty. Let's talk. In Africa, same thing. The drumming signifying maybe the falling of something or whatever. But we always were able to communicate, in spite of the fact within our culture, the way we culturally created ourselves and honored the gods, even though it was slightly different, we all respected each other's way of worship. We did not force each other to take on the way we worship. It didn't make any sense. That was not our mission. We could care less how you worship. Fast forward to today. You go to Africa. I don't know if it's every country or state in Africa, but I believe in Kenya. Please don't quote, but I think that is one of the countries. They have buildings where you have nothing but churches stacked up on each other. So people are continuously going in and out of that building day and night to worship a Mzungu god. So besides you coming out and wandering around in this physical matrix, right, of them controlling what is rightfully ours, they've also found a way to make us worship them. Look what Belgium did when it went to the Congo. King Leopold, in the name of Christianity, but yet it was to plunder, to take our gold, to take whatever minerals, whatever, because Africa is truly like the Garden of Eden, figuratively, if you think about it. It has everything you need: food, all the natural resources. So there is no need to try to sell things because there is such an abundance there for everyone. But then again, what did they do? They came, they beat us, subjugated us into believing in their God, so that you go in every street corner, even here in the United States, right? You go in urban areas where people of color concentrated. You go down the street, you're going to find about 6 or 7 churches, honestly. They're right next door to each other. In fact, where I live right now, there are 2 churches right next door to each other. 2 different so-called denominations, right? One's Catholic, the other one I think is Baptist or Episcopalian, I don't know. But again, what have they done? They've created the Tower of Babel within us, right? By breaking this down, separating us here. Here's a different way to worship. Here's another way to worship. Here's another way to worship. Here's another way to worship. But what we don't take in consideration, they're still gods, right? Because Episcopalians will take something different from the Bible. Seventh-day Adventists will take something different from the Bible. Baptists, you go on and on. Presbyterian. So they have fooled you into thinking you're only worshiping one God. If you only worship one God, there should only be one way of. Well, there is figuratively. There shouldn't be so many different denominations under one banner. Christianity. That's to tell you, in disguise, you're still worshiping more than one God, which is a natural way of being. And another thing about the concerns about the Tower of Babel is this. It said they brought it down, right? So how? So the gods did not want this permeation of their creation to leave this world, because they cannot do it spiritually, because it's not in their DNA. You have to be melanated people in order to do it, to elevate yourself spiritually. You have to be melanated, because there are different things that work within you that they do not have. So once they figured that out, I said, what are we going to do? It's in the blood. Again, it's the blood. They need to dilute our blood. And there are 2 different ways they dilute our blood. That's making us hate ourselves. Specifically in the words black and white. It's supposed to be in reverse. Black is devoid of color. Anything that goes in black, it absorbs it. Nothing can come out. That represents the Mzungu. Colorless. So-called Caucasian, right? Those are the Mzungus. And there are pockets of stories going around. In fact, I saw something on YouTube. This Mzungu lady, she walked into a mall covered in blood, and sat down in the middle of the mall. Anyone who approached her, she had an axe and she was swinging the axe. So eventually the police came, went back to her house, she had deleted her daughter and her dog. And it meant nothing to her. So there's something going on where the universe, Great Mayat, the Queen of the South, is correcting. She has given them enough time to bring the world back in balance to what it was prior to their creation. But there is an instinct within them that's about destruction. And we, being of a people who are peaceful, naturally peaceful, and who say, come along, enjoy what we have. However, in their view of lack, they must take. And that comes from living in the Caucasoid Mountains, from where they came from, where there aren't any natural resources, scarcity, not enough people to populate. So what did they do? They allowed for the intermingling of each other within their family. And to them, that's a natural thing, where for us, that is not. And so when they came along and we interacted with them and shared our knowledge, they usurped it. And this is where we are today. But everything is coming down from the root. No matter how hard they try to keep it up, the roots are rotting. The roots have been rotting. And the rottenness is surface where they don't care. They're blatantly showing it. There's so many things that they have tested in the past, and now, they have really just put it out there to confuse us. Again, keep us within that Babylonian system, that Babel, that confusion of not knowing. I forgot the young man's name who made that it was a rapper who did a song with a country western star, and I really liked this song. I can't remember what it was. And he lives an alternative lifestyle. They've shown him dressed in a wedding gown. And do you know what I saw him looking today? In a photo on YouTube. There he's sitting with an artificial belly of pregnancy. And that is acceptable? And you think, everybody thinks, oh, this is the first time that we have seen this. But it is not. I think it was in the 70s. There was a movie called Rabbit Test. I think it was Rabbit Test. I can't remember the name of it, but with Billy Crystal. It was a movie. It was a movie in the theaters. I don't remember if it was in theaters or on TV. But anyway, the movie was about a man getting pregnant. Fast forward to today, right? They showing this man with an artificial belly. So what are they saying? They're doing the best to remove the feminine. All throughout all Babylon, the jealousy, right? Because if you look mostly in the animal kingdom, who, especially elephants, right? Who runs it? The matriarch. Lions. Who runs it? The matriarch. No matter what is perceived, you always find out it is the female of any species that is the most powerful. So how did we get to this position? Because our males decided, okay, in order to destroy our power, and being that we're natural nurturers, what did they do? They connived and they came, okay, they started choosing. It should have been the other way around. Men should not be choosing the women. The women should be choosing the men. And because of the way we think, it comes out in a very negative way. When men, oh, this woman is domineering, whatever. But it's because the feminine aspect has been removed from her. We've been pouring more male, the masculine side, in terms of breaking us down, removing the family structure, forcing this thing called marriage. Because marriage is not a natural thing. Because then, again, it subscribes to ownership, right? Ownership. There's something that changes in someone's mind when they say, oh, we're married, you're mine. You do not belong to anybody. And in order for this thing, this what this world calls marriage, to work, there must be acknowledgement on both sides that there is no ownership. It is about communication. But most of the time, we don't want to take we do not take the time to communicate. There's always going to be misinterpretation of what we say, what we intend. So there is so many opportunities, there are ample opportunities for us to sit and explain our viewpoint so that the other may see where we are. But if we close off, which is what Babylon wants you to continuously do, look outside of yourself. Do not look within you. Once you look outside, you're operating on a low vibration, because it's not coming from within you. There is no in the word I lose the word. I don't know what word I'm trying to use, but there is no. Oh yeah, there you go. There isn't any elevation of self, of soul to combine with spirit. That daemon. Soul is constantly looking, searching, because that is the aspect Babylon has sought. Because it's about emotion. If they could capture your emotion, then they've captured your soul, and spirit doesn't have any chance to aid you in your elevation. So it's imperative we look within ourselves. It always starts within. And when we finally see, we are finally aware of what is around us, and we could truly see who the individuals are around us and how we connected to source and what they bring to source. It removes the emotion. There comes the connection of the soul and the daemon. The soul and the spirit, which is complete, the lower daemon and the higher daemon. There must be a meeting of the mind. And because in this matrix, in this Babylon, they're telling you that it's one universe. There is more than one universe. It's a multiverse. And they tell you the multiverse is a physical place. Multiverse is not a physical place. Yes, it's on the spiritual plane, but it's the spiritual plane where everyone is on that same higher vibration. Everyone's universe is different. The view of the universe is different. So that's where the multiverse actually comes from. It's when we raise our vibration and we can see each other energetically. Everyone's color and vibration is different. When we see that, that is where the multiverse comes from. But they're trying to tell you something different. It's spiritual. Doctor Strange kind of touches on it, but it comes from an angle where it doesn't touch that surface, where we understand that the multiverse is all of our minds. Our mind is the universe. The universe manifests, right? We think, we create, then it's here in the physical plane. We are the multiverse. And Babylon is doing its best to not allow us to see that we are the multiverse. Because it's always saying, oh, Who was your leader? Who was your leader? Separation, right? So let's go back, talk about the leaders. Let's talk about Kenya, right? Kenya. Every time you turn around, now they are really shaking the roots. They are removing the roots. They have gone behind the curtain. They're looking at the wizard, which is the IMF. They have went to their buildings and tell them to stop doing this because of the amount of oppression, which is what Babylon wants, is for you to keep being that zombie, being zombified, and not be aware of who you are. However, the Gen Z, as they call them, in Kenya, remember, as I keep telling you, the Queen of England got coronated there. And she was not coronated by other Mzungus. She was coronated by the Kenyans who gave up our spiritual seat. And once Kenya did that, the others fell in line. Now Gen Z, the ancestors, have come forth in Gen Z. There aren't any leaders. There is no leader. There is one voice. They all want the same. Because once you put a singular person in front to speak on your behalf, that's when the corruption comes in. That is the state of politics. Mzungus allowed the so-called leaders of Africa, Kenya, to imbibe in the artificial ways, to forget who they are and who they're truly representing. It's not about their one physical family. It's about the people. And when the youth here in America wakes up and joins this coronation, it will be such a joyous occasion because it's spreading. It's spreading across the African continent. I don't care if you say India, Bangladesh, the Indians, whatever. It's still on the African continent, which the imperialists are doing their best to keep in check because they understand that is the true seat of power in the world. And if they could control it, then they are truly gods in their eyes. But they're slowly falling, tumbling down. They're slowly falling. Because Gen Z has decided where the natural roots of our spiritual beginnings, the true seat of our ancestral power, Mount Zion, Kenya, the true seat, they have broken, they're dismissing the spells of the Masonic systems. They're cracking it. And the world, the imperial world, is doing its best. But it's not going to work. They're not scared because the ancestors are speaking through them. They understand this physicalness means nothing if we cannot be, we cannot sustain, and we're not able to learn the lessons that we need to learn in order to raise our vibrations. Great Mayat has decided she's giving them enough time, thousands and thousands of years. Here in the Americas, over 400 years. But nothing has changed. It's just presented in a different package. All these centuries, all they've done is perfected the same thing, the feudalistic system. And now it's at this all-time high, where you just have those who have and those who have not. There's no in between. And now the other Mzungus are beginning to realize, hey, wait a minute, I'm suffering too. Why am I suffering? Trying to change things, right? Talking about, why am I paying for the sins of my father? But the Bible tells you that Wherever there's that one person that has done things against the natural laws within that family, if you get rid of that one person, doesn't mean that the seeds still have not been planted. They're there. And for you to dispel the background of your family, but you are benefiting from it all. You have no respect. You come into our spiritual centers, you come into where we live, and because you do not understand the way we celebrate our lives, you come and you destroy us and tell us this is what we want you to do, because that's the way we understand. We don't want to learn about the way you understand, because we cannot get there. We do not have the inner standing of how to get there. And because we don't have the understanding of how to get there, we are going to confuse you to make you think that we are there and that we know better on how to help you raise your vibration. But it is not so. It is not so. And it's sad. It's sad for a reason, because people of my generation, who are starting to wake up, if our youth would band together and stop hating themselves, stop allowing themselves to look at Babylon as if Babylon is the end all and be all, doing things that what makes you hate yourself and kill your brother for no reason, simply because your brother or sister looked at you. Simply because maybe they bumped you by mistake. But then that confusion of not knowing who you are allows you to rail against your brother, which lowers your vibration. And then turn your back on your brothers and your sisters. And this is the thing, our men are lost, because they are told it's about physical, right? It's all about displaying physical prowess. And then when they choose, right, the feminine that they want, the female that they want to be intimate with or engage, it usually isn't the strongest female. It's always the weakest. I'm saying it's the weakest because she does not know who she is, so she goes out and represents Jezebel. The female rappers, some actresses, even those in politics, and sometimes even the ones around us. They're confused, they're lost, exposing themselves. Why? To attract the male. But what kind of male are you attracting? It's not the one who sees what his role truly is when he's in relation with you. The one you attract is one of dominance. And that's a sign of weakness. So now you have two weak people coming together producing weak offsprings. Again, tainting the blood. Whereas before, it wasn't about that. It was about the strength. When we were into agriculture, the farmer, he could not afford for his wife to be frail because it was only the two of them, and they must be able to go ahead and till the land. So he looked for women who were strong within themselves. Fast forward to today. When a man sees a woman who is strong, he says, oh no, she's of the alternative lifestyle. Or they convince her that's what she wants. Again, the programming, right? The programming. So every once in a while you hear, oh, she used to be in this lifestyle, but now she's married, got kids. Why? The programming had been removed. She saw who she truly is, and what, and how she was imbalanced. But yet we choose. But don't get me wrong now. We do, because of the natural order of the world, the natural culling of populations, you do have the alternative lifestyles. But the thing is this, it's something that's being brought up and put into the public domain more and more and more, making our children think this is the way to go. Again, now that this is their way of deleting the population, artificial way of culling. In the earlier centuries, like the 15th, 16th, 17th centuries, of when there were pirates, most of the pirates were people of color. Again, those who did not want. I think it was it, I forgot the name of the captain, but it was a female, a famous captain, and they represented as male, but she was female. Again, who were those? They were the pirates were the outcasts, right? The outcasts were those who led the alternative lifestyle. Where they could be, because when they show them what they have, they have earrings, correct? That's what they call the dandy. It was always there. Oh, he's a dandy. Any male that was in an alternative lifestyle, they called him a dandy. And they let him be. There's no persecution. Again, bring it in the forefront so that it makes it seem like, okay, we should all do this. Confusing our children. Because if you want something to grow in a particular way you want it to, you start at the root, the base. Remove them from the elders. So when they bring our children into the formal education, and they tell them, oh, don't listen to your elders. That's why the children's rights and please do not take it in a way where I'm saying children shouldn't have any rights. What it is, the rights children should have is that the ability to communicate with their elders. So they'll have a better understanding of where they come from. So no matter how they perceive their universe, they could use it as a base to grow it and include it in the way they raise their vibration. But when you remove that source, there is no direction so that anyone can come along and tell you, oh, we should turn right when you know it's a left turn. But say, no, take the right turn. I don't care if this is the right way, but if you feel this is right, but I'm telling you, go right. And it's a continuous thing. Like I said in my last video, we replicate it. We keep it going. They don't have to do anything. Because as we watch, look what, like as I stated, in Africa, the youth are waking up. Their eyes are opening. They are, when I tell you, the vibration of the ancestors are working through them. This revolution, this disbanding, and my prayers are with them. It's spreading across Nigeria, Uganda, I believe Ghana also, because we want to get rid of the ignorance, the roots that are entangled. I forgot. I think it was the leader of Uganda or someone talking about Christians. We have to stop that. In Africa, the politicians go into the churches and tell them it's their Christian duty. Yet they have no idea what Christianity is. It's not the way that it's presented in this world. The Christos. You are the Christos. You allow, what did Jesus say? do not listen to the scribes and Pharisees. The scribes, the writers, the media. The scribes and the media. And every time the media tells us something, we take it as gospel truth. Let me give you a little anecdote, because I do teach. I was teaching this young man, and he said, "Oh, Michael Jordan is," I think he said Michael Jordan is dead. I said, "What are you talking about? If Michael Jordan was dead, it would have been all over the news." And I said, "Where'd you see that?" He said he read it on the internet. I'm like, how are you going to believe something like that one article, and not explore it further? Again, they take it as gospel truth. Our children are so engrossed in their phones. When I tell you, you walk down the street and it's like you sit anywhere, you see them scroll. So that attention span is not there. So they delete the attention span, so you won't be able to sit and meditate within yourself. Understanding what the beauty is of sitting still within yourself, to allow that space to clear for you, so that you're able to see and be aware of who you are. Everything the Matrix does is prevent you from seeing your true self. And so our youth here in the U.S. do not know who they are. And we see it. They do not listen to the elders unless the elders are propagating what they are already into. That is the only way. And the more I see it, the more I'm like, it's disheartening. The more I become aware, the more I'm aware of the infinite possibilities that are not coming into fruition. If all of our children here decide that they have had enough, because the same things that happen in Africa are happening here. Inflation, jobs. There are no jobs for our youth. But why are we looking for jobs? Because we are taught to handout. Instead of manifesting our dreams, they take you away from manifestation. That is the true power. Manifestation. And having the patience to understand there are certain steps that you have to take. And it's the steps of inner knowledge, inner understanding. Once those steps are taken and they're secure, so that when we do take that one step towards our manifestation, which is raising the vibration and dispelling, right? Removing the scale from our eyes on one level. We must make sure that space is truly clear and we could see where we are going. We could be aware of where we're going. The long view of it all. Because right now we're told the short view, immediate. There's nothing immediate about manifestation. If you're writing a letter, as soon as you write one word, is it done? Again, manifestation. Once we understand all of that, and we turn our backs on Babylon, because we're the only ones propping it up. Speaking of Babylon and the Pharisees, who were the politicians, now we have Kamala Harris. Even though she looks melanated, again, think about the movie, why is it going away from my mind? Avatar. Her avatar, this is an avatar, may look like us, but she's not of us. The second movie of Avatar, they were able to create the illusion that they looked like us. But yet, internally, they did not think like us. And this is where we are right now. We have those who look like us because they've assimilated with it. They've assimilated. They have acquired the knowledge to assimilate. So even though they may look like us, then some of them are not of us. Camilla is not of us. And she may very likely win. And the reason I say that is because to look at The Simpsons. Now, I haven't watched The Simpsons in years. Trust me on that one. I don't even watch TV. But I remember when there was, I saw something on YouTube and they showed Lisa Simpson as president. They said there would be a female president. At first we thought it was Hillary. It did not occur. Now there's another opportunity for a female president. All of this is planned. Trump, with his stage performance, all this is planned. Sacrifice. In order to manifest, there must be some sacrifice. Right? Hitler was told to sacrifice the so-called false Jew. They had to sacrifice some of their people, and they gave them a false name because they're the Anakazis, and please forgive me for butchering this word. Anakazis, that's who they are. And where are they from? The Ukraine. That is the center. That is their root. Our root is Kenya. That particular section, they gave that part of Africa named Kenya, so I'm going to have to use it. So that is, Kenya is our root. Uganda is their root. I'm sorry. Ukraine is their root. And that is why America is doing their best to keep the Ukraine viable, because that is their root. That is their center. And once that dies, it's over. Lift the veil. Everything we're watching, you must know that everything that's occurring in this world has a spiritual connection. It's spiritual. And we must look at it. We must understand that and prepare ourselves for the falling of Babylon. When we say raise a vibration, we're thinking about, we're going to leave here on a cloud. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. The way it works is, again, being aware of who we are and how we are being in this universe. And the universe is our mind, because our mind interprets what we see and what we want and how and what we do. That is the part that's enslaved. Think about the elephants in India. They only walk maybe less than a foot away from where the owner leaves them. The owner could go for days and come back. The elephant is still there. And why is that? Because from the time that elephant is a baby, what do? They put a physical tether on them. So when they go to a certain distance, they cannot go any further. And they keep it there. I don't know, for about a year. I'm not sure. But once they remove it, it's a vibrational link. So in their minds, they still feel that tether. And this is what they've done to us. They have placed that mental tether on us so that even when we meet the boundaries, again, they put everything in a square for us. Everything is squared. The building we live in, it's a square. If you take an overall topical view of how we live, the way our homes are, how it's strategically placed, it's all a square. It actually looks like the motherboard of a computer. And from the aerial view, square. And they need that to be, because they need us to feel boundaries, right? They need us to feel the boundaries, to bind ourselves and not go beyond that border, that artificial border that they have created for us. Assimilation. We are not. Think about it. When they show that picture of the snake eating its tail, right? It's a connection. It's a circular motion, spiraling, right? The connection. So there is no boundaries. They could keep on growing. A circle can grow as big as you want it. Because there's no edges, there's no corners. But they're telling us to live in a square world when the mind is beyond. Our minds are expandable, but we allow ourselves to stay in this matrix, in this square box. So that is what I have to say today. I thank you very much for listening. I thank those who view my videos and share. Please subscribe. And again, all of my videos may not be for everyone, but I guarantee you everyone will find something in one of my videos that will resonate with the vibration and the level of where you are. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Namaste.